agus madan va hula dunya, agus falcha orith arash. Hello everyone, and a very warm welcome back to the Plurilingual Lab speaker sessions. Is misha palmia kan shiblo, she gela hanum, is ruga is hoke mi on glasuko alaba, she neach ransachi hanum, agus is ma konjuchug. So I introduced myself in my now endangered language, Gaelic or Scottish Gaelic. My name is Paul Megan Chiblow. I'm a Scottish Gael born and raised in Glasgow, Scotland, as you might be able to hear from the accent. And I am a PhD candidate in educational studies in the Department of Integrated Studies in Education. And I am your host today for the Plurilingual Lab speaker sessions. It is such an honor to be hosting you and to be speaking to you all today. Now, before I begin to introduce our wonderful panel speakers today, for which I'm sure we're all very excited, I would like to begin with a land acknowledgement. I am speaking to you today from Toronto, Canada. I would like to acknowledge this land, the plants, water, animals, and spirits, and our responsibilities to them. For thousands of years, Toronto has been the traditional land and territory of many nations, including the Mississaugas of the Credit, the Anishinaabe, the Chippewa, the Haudenosaunee, and the Wendat peoples. And today is now home to many diverse First Nations, Inuit, and Métis peoples. I'm very grateful to have the opportunity to live and work on this land. I would also like to take a moment to acknowledge the indigenous languages of Turtle Island, or what is now known as North America. Indigenous languages are inseparable from the land and are still spoken to this day in Canada and worldwide. It is important to acknowledge our everyday collective responsibilities in ensuring Indigenous languages and knowledges are equally validated and respected alongside colonial languages in language education and beyond. Miigwech, agus tapaleif. So, without further ado, it is my great honor to introduce to you our wonderful panel today. This panel has 11 short talks of authors who contributed articles to the special issue of the TESL Canada Journal, and that will be published sometime this year. The name of the issue is Plurilingualism and Translanguaging, Pedagogical Approaches for Empowerment and Validation. And the guest editors of this special issue are Caroline Payon and Angelica Galante. Now, each presentation will be 5 minutes and should last around about 1 hour, and participants will have 30 minutes for discussion, as I pointed out before. Aisha Barise will chair the panel and will remind the panel participants if there is at any time when the time is running up as well, just to make you all aware. So thank you all so much again. We're incredibly excited. Thank you very much for being here, everyone. And I hope you very enjoy this talk today with our wonderful panel. So over to you, Aisha, and I very much look forward to listening to the panel and the speakers. Thank you very much.
And now we'll welcome Amir Kalan for the next talk.
So, hello everyone, my name is Amir Kalan. I'm an assistant professor in the Department of Education at McGill University. I'm delighted to be in conversation with the authors of this important TESL Canada issue, and also with the audience who have kindly attended today's event. The title of my article is Negotiating Identities, Negotiating Writing Identities Across Languages. Drawing on findings from an ethnographic study of 3 multilingual writers' writing practices, my article focuses on the translingual practices that these writers engaged with and discusses how these practices enrich the writers' writing processes and products. In my article, I explain how these writers' translanguaging was a complex process with 5 dimensions. 1, lexical translanguaging, 2, syntactic translanguaging, 3, rhetorical translanguaging, 4, conceptual translanguaging, and 5, presentational translanguaging, or how to disseminate text across cultures, and also how to navigate assessment dynamics in different educational settings. In my article, I use the term translanguaging to highlight any convergence or interaction between the languages of a speaker's linguistic and cultural repertoire that can help writers sustain the writing identity while they write across languages. So I'm interested in translanguaging because it helps with sustaining writing identities. That is why, next to grammatical and lexical translanguaging, I'm also interested in intercultural rhetoric, the concepts and discourses that writers transfer from one language to another, and how writers make sense of publishing and dissemination dynamics as they migrate across cultures, and also how they make sense of assessment and evaluation strategies in educational settings in new cultures. Writing identity is what writers conceive themselves to be. It is the perception of their writing skills, strengths, and abilities. Writing identity is writers' beliefs and preferences for the content and discourses that they see worthy of framing in writing. When writing in additional languages, writers make use of translanguaging because it creates familiar semiotic ground for them to see their writing identities as relevant to the task. Based on this perception, translanguaging helps create a sense of continuity when learners think about their writing identities. Thanks to translanguaging, writers can use some of the linguistic features that are used to across languages. They can, for instance, use cognates or make use of grammatical features that are common among the languages that they know. But additionally, they can engage with intercultural rhetoric, use the native rhetorical practices while writing in adopted languages. And also they can rewrite the discourses that they have developed over years in the mother tongues in a new language. A move away from viewing translanguaging as L1 lexical and syntactic interference to appreciating rhetorical, conceptual, and presentational translanguaging helps us see the power relational dimensions of writing pedagogies of translanguaging. A complex interpretation of translanguaging can reveal the power imbalances between minoritized students and the teachers. Embracing translanguaging in all its complexity can reveal to teachers that when they're evaluating their students' writings, they are in fact judging the cultural, ideological, discursive, and rhetorical existence, although at the surface they seem to be assessing their use of English. It seems much less problematic to tell a student that the grammar is wrong than criticize a student's conceptual understanding of the world. Through the lens that I offer in my article, we can see that when we engage with the former, we typically engage with the latter as well. Understanding this dynamic will help teachers to put themselves in a democratic relationship with the students in an attempt not to only teach the students, but to learn from their perspectives, beliefs, and discourses. Such a move will facilitate teachers and students' resistance against centralized curricula. A pedagogy of translanguaging in writing will provide the teachers with the confidence that is needed to challenge received curricula by moving towards rhetorical and discursive fusions. These are some of the major themes that I highlight in my article. I want you to read my article when the issue is released. And I would like to end my brief presentation by thanking Dr. Payan and Dr. Galanta for leading this very important project. Thank you all.
Great, thank you very much, Kalan. And now we invite Sylvia next.